Resolution honoring Sergeant Philip McCullough Jr. And Sergeant and I had a chance to speak a little earlier up in my office, but I would like to give you a little background on what the Sergeant has done for us while we were sitting here in Galveston County. He was awarded the Silver Star approximately 3 months ago, and I like reading the citation for the Silver Star. I've been an Air Force guy for 21 years. Our Distinguished Flying Cross is a similar award, and it's for shooting someone down and things like that. But this is really cool. He was awarded this for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action while serving as a squad leader, K Company, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, Regimental Combat Team 8, 2nd Marine Division. Sergeant McCullough led his squad of Marines into a determined pursuit of a numerically superior enemy force. For those Aggies, that means he was way outnumbered. After being attacked by the fighters, he continued to push his troops. It talks about his leadership skills, about how he aggressively drove his Marines to remain focused, exposing himself to enemy fire. As I read in the newspaper, he was also shot in the leg. Did not report that injury as is required. He went on to continue fighting the enemy, inflicting devastating effects, allowing his squad to return to friendly lines. His bold leadership, wise judgment, and complete dedication to duty, Sergeant McCullough reflects great credit upon himself and the highest traditions of the Marine Corps, the United States Navy, and I would go so far as to say the city of Galveston, the county of Galveston, and the great state of Texas. It's indeed an honor to recognize Sergeant Philip McCullough Jr. Sergeant McCullough, I don't think I can give an intro like that, and without these people expecting to hear at least a word or two from you, so if you would.
My 7th grade history teacher's here, Miss Ross, and so it's the community here. I feel like I'm part of this community, whether I've been overseas, I've been to, 6 different nations, and been all over the world, and I tell you, every time I come back, to Texas, and this is my home, and in Galveston, my folks don't live here anymore, unfortunately, but I still come down here every time. The community down here is special. It's a different place to grow up. It's different than the rest of Texas as well. And for y'all to come together and honor me like this, it's a great honor. I really, truly feel I'm part of this community, and I appreciate everything y'all do for me. Thank you.
I'm going to ask the mayor now to give a little presentation. I asked the sergeant earlier if he was going to be in the Marines for a career, and he said he was undecided at this point. And I said, well, based on the depth and level of your combat experience, you can always come back and get involved in politics in Galveston County.
Sergeant, I'm your mayor, Joe Jaworski, and we are so proud to have you back in Galveston, even though you have picked beautiful Southern California, and I don't blame you, it's a great place. Galveston's a good beach, too. I want to say that it is so meaningful that you would come home because it feels right to come home. When we do the Pledge of Allegiance at our city council meetings, and we do our moment of silence, I do want you to know that we often think about the young men from Galveston and the women from Galveston and America who are over there fighting and taking the fight to them so that we can do what we have to do. And so I want to thank you for helping us live free like Americans here. All right. And so I have a proclamation, and this is from the mayor and the Galveston City Council, your town. Yes, sir. We, the mayor and the city council, by virtue of the authority vested by the city of Galveston, Texas, do proclaim April 3rd, 2012 as Sergeant Philip A. McCullough Jr. Day in the city of Galveston. Whereas United States Marine Sergeant Philip A. McCullough Jr. is from Galveston and graduated from Ball High School in Galveston in the class of 2006. He was part of the class of 2007, but was accelerated to graduate with the class of 2006 for his entry in the United States Marine Corps. And whereas, during his deployment, he was wounded in combat and, in an act of bravery, saved the lives of his fellow Marines. He was awarded the Silver Star for his bravery, rendering him a national hero. And whereas the city of Galveston is proud to recognize Sergeant Philip A. McCullough Jr. for his service and for receiving the Silver Star for his bravery, and to welcome him back home to Galveston. And therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and city council for the city of Galveston, Texas, urge each and every citizen to recognize April 3rd, 2012, sir, as Sergeant Philip A. McCullough Jr. Day, in testimony whereof witness my hand in the seal of the city of Galveston, Texas, this 3rd day of April, 2012. Mayor Joe Jaworski.
I got you here. You go around. High five all day. I love high fives. High fives. Can I get some low fives in there? Can I get some low fives?
And let me tell you, for somebody who's an old history teacher, I'm so glad you mentioned your history teacher.
Welcome home, baby.
You
got your purple heart on.
Appreciate it.
You got your purple heart on.
Hey, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pound it. Let's go. You gonna give me a high five? Give me a low five, a high five, and let's pound it. There you go. How about that? Galveston's my home, that's my parents from now, so I'm very grateful for everything they did, but it's just a special meaning being here
Nice to meet you.
in Galveston, and the kids, I love this.
Yeah, the kids really wanted that. They brought the flags and everything else.
I love kids, it's like, hopefully soon I'll have some of my own, so.
How old are you, Sergeant?
23.
23 years old. The experiences you've seen. Can you just talk or reflect about someone at your age giving the dedication to service, particularly to be a Marine?
Any Marine does what I do, it's nothing special, no individual, does better than the other. We always do our job, certain place, certain time. I happened to be there at that time, and any Marine would have done it, And a lot of people that don't get recognition are heroes that are maimed, and, I have 2 broken hearts myself, but like a lot of these guys, are amputees and stuff like that, and they should be recognized just as much, and a lot of times they don't because they can't get around, and they're in the hospital, so nobody really knows about them. So, don't forget about your wounded warriors, is something I'd like to say.